Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Meherzia Labidi, for a very moving and touching and promising and hopeful speech about Tunisia. We have about 30 minutes, I think, for Q&A. I will start by the first one. I know it's on the mind of a lot of people, about corruption. It's a tough one, and a lot of people are disappointed that corruption is actually, or say, or have the impression that corruption has increased since the revolution. How do you explain that, and what is your plan to fight corruption? Do you think it is possible? Do you think it is doable? A lot of Tunisians are frustrated by corruption in Tunisia.
Thank you.
It works.
The sign of friendship is always friends who ask the most difficult questions.
The tough question.
Yes, indeed. As I said, now that we are building this new Tunisia and leading reforms, the first demand of people is, please fight corruption. And it was also the priority of the National Unity Government led by Mr. Youssef Chahed, a young chief of government. And in the parliament, now we have two main projects. The first project is a project of law to protect persons, individuals, denouncing corruption.
You mean reporting?
Reporting, yes.
Corruption. Okay.
Because indeed, the corruption which was everywhere during decades and decades after the revolution, it was democratized, unfortunately. Before, there were, let's say, persons who are very powerful and known in administration, in ministries, and they are controlling this corrupted system. After the revolution, even many, let's say, civil servants, or they can have their own share of this corruption. This is why there is this impression, and it's not only impression, even figures and statistics said that it is spread. Yet, many efforts are done to limit corruption and to, by legislation, and we have created, and since 2012, a national instance or authority to fight corruption. They are doing very good job, and you may see the indicator, the international indicator of what are the countries fighting corruption. And I think Tunisia, from the rank of 43, now it is on 38. So there is progress in fighting corruption. Yet, sorry, I think not only me, but even observers and experts are telling us this will be one of the longest battles. Because not only through legislation, but through changing mentalities and behavior, raising awareness, and also giving example of sanctions and punishment.
Okay. We're going to take some questions now, but if you can also fix your mic because it's moving. Okay, so where is the mic? Yeah, there is a mic here. If you don't mind, go to the mic. There's a mic, yeah, behind you.
So okay, I think it works.
It works, yeah.
Okay.
Please introduce yourself.
Okay,
and make it brief.
So my name is Meherzia Labidi. I'm 16 years old, and I'm an exchange student from Tunisia in the US.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, so here
16 years old.
Yeah, I'm 16 years old. Thank you. So you have mentioned that the first challenge for Tunisia is the economic transition. So here, like, the economic transition can't really go on to a better situation unless we afford more job opportunities. But for me, like these job opportunities can't really like happen without the educational system. Because our high school kids in Tunisia, like the only jobs they think they can do are being a doctor or an engineer. And at least that's what my mom told me. I mean, it's so different from here. So for me, like the question is the government in Tunisia really working effectively on the relation between the educational system and the academic transition?
And the job market.
Thank you.
Very good question. Thank you. We'll take 2 or 3 questions together. Yeah, please.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Meherzia Ahmed with the Minaret of Freedom Institute. Thank you very much for the excellent presentation. My question relates to both the economic transition and to the issue of corruption. You mentioned that since the revolution, corruption has been democratized, but as I recall, the original incident that provoked the Arab Spring was a fruit peddler who was being persecuted by local officials, not by national officials. And so my question is, to what degree has the parliament or the policymakers looked at the issue of the connection between rent-seeking and corruption? That as long as you have strict requirements that bar entry into entrepreneurship, people have to deal with these officials who are then tempted to be corrupt. I would be interested in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you very much for being here. Joanna Brignolo is my name.
Sorry, introduce yourself again.
My name is Joanna Brignolo. Thank you very much for being here, and I would like to know, do you aspire to one day be a president? You are so articulate. You are a great role model for your people.
Merci.
And I hope to hear this, that you will.
Yes, we'll take the fourth one.
Nizar Farsakh, I'm a leadership and advocacy trainer, and in fact, I worked in Tunisia and other Arab countries. My question is, what advice you have for other Arab countries and other movements? Especially, I want to thank you that you were specific in pointing out the specific factors in Tunisia that worked. But one of the challenges is that Tunisia does have a different environment, right? The education level is higher, there is far less history of violence, and that the society is much more homogeneous. Could you speak more to the challenges you face and how, because you're from Nahda, how did you prioritize your goals, right? You said that there were points where you had to choose between what's good and what's just, and you chose what was good. How did you persuade your constituency that that's the right thing to do, that we're going to give up on or postpone 5, 6 important things that are essential for us in order to secure 1, 2, 3 other things that have to be a priority or are more urgent? How did you have that conversation, and what advice do you have to other movements on how to do that?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your questions. Well, yes, the problem of education and job, that's it, economic life. Do our universities, schools prepare our youth to active life? It seems not. Yes, this is the real problem. This is why we have a big number of young men and women with diploma, high diploma, but no job.
With college degrees.
Yes,
Yeah.
college degrees. I said high diploma because I don't know the correspondence between diploma in university and here, the system here. Excuse me, I think I caught cold when I came from Tunisia, so pardon.
Even though we welcomed you with the Tunisian weather, yani, it's...
No, it's not in Washington, in Tunisia. It's, the weather here is better than in Tunis. Well, we are now discussing the reform of our educational system. It's not a project of one government. It's not a project of one party. It's a project of a nation. This is how these discussions are ongoing with different groups of expert teachers, parents, and of course the government and the parliament. And one of the main topic is how to develop vocational training. in Tunisia. Because, sorry, in many sectors, we lack skilled labor, and we have people who are suffering from unemployment. This is a very tough issue to settle. We are benefiting from cooperation, France, Germany, Italy, and USA. I think the results of these reforms of change will be seen maybe some 5 or more years ago.
Later.
But, no, to come. But what we are trying to do now, the government of Mr. Youssef Shahid is promoting entrepreneurship for women and youth. Not simply giving microcredits, but now there is teams on local and regional level to accompany this young entrepreneur, to accompany them how to run a project, how to make it sustainable. And we are also working to change mentalities. Because we have inherited a very negative attitude, is dependency on the state. People are waiting for the public sector to employ them, for the state to give them jobs, and say, but we have studied, so you have to give us jobs. Change the attitude to a proactive attitude, people saying, I can have my own project. And let me tell you.
Can you do it quickly, please, because
yes.
we want to take another round of questions.
Let me tell this story.
Yeah, but quickly.
Last week, a mother came with her young boy. He's 25. He has diploma, I think, in electronics. But his dream is to sell tomatoes, séché, dried tomatoes. And he has a project. He was talking to me about his project as a deputy, he's representing him, and his mother kept interrupting him. No, I want a job for him in the government. No, I want. So, for her, stability and security is to get a job in public sector. And for this young man, he looks like this young Tunisia. He wants to have this adventure, this project. So how to change mentalities, how to promote microcredits, guarantee, etc., to encourage youth to change, and women especially, to change attitude towards this issue of job, etc. The other question is about corruption and economy. We are leading many reforms. We have voted laws to reform the banking system, one of the most corrupted during the last decades sector, and to reform it and to give new criteria of management, like in the private sector, even if they are public banks. And also, we have voted a new investment law, and now we are discussing a new fiscal law, fiscality, how to encourage investors in Tunisia, how to create the value of freedom, which is a real success on the level of politics, how to put it in economy. We also voted a law on public and private partnership. And we voted a law also in how to invest, to encourage and facilitate investment in clean and renewable energies. So this is our effort to develop our legislation to make Tunisia an attractive place for investors for people who want to create a new environment of business and of course being very tough on when there is case of corruption, etc. And here I shall say that the high instance of fighting corruption is working very hard, and the person now at the head of this instance is a former president of the Tunisian bar, Shawkat Bib, and he has a very good team.
Can you please, excuse me,
Alors,
can you please hold your microphone? For some reason, your mic, it's making a lot, it's moving. Hold it in your hand, just hold it in your hand.
d'accord.
It's moving too much. Yeah, that's better.
Chère Madame, dear Madam, thank you for your question. I don't think that I am the only Tunisian woman who can be candidate for presidency. We inherited in Tunisia the figure of the political genius is a female figure, Didon Alissa, the founder of Carthage. She was a woman. And the figure of the fighter is also a woman, Kahina, priestess. And the symbol also of social worker, no, or patroness for social affairs is a woman, Aziza Uthmana. And I see around me many women in different political parties who are really the persons guaranteeing the success of this democracy. But we are not in a hurry. We want mentalities to grow, to change. I chaired more than 67% of the Constituent Assembly plenary sessions, the most difficult. And what is really, for me, important is that my capacity as political woman was recognized by les citoyens, citizens, in the street. Very often, young men in the street, they say, Madame, I can see you as the president of Tunisia. Anyhow, no. I don't want to quarrel with with men. No, it's not time yet for me. To be sincere, it's not time. I want to learn how to represent Tunisian, how to bring the voice of Tunisia very far. Merci, chère madame. No, it's not time. It's time to work for many other things. Merci.
Yeah, the last one, your advice to other Islamic parties and movements in other countries?
What we are doing here, I will speak for my political party, Nahda, Muslim Democrats, and our evolving, not only since the revolution, but before the revolution, is that we have to make effort to think religion, politics, and modernity, and to be courageous enough to say that we have to meet each others, to make our priority the human, the common, the shared human values. We are doing this in Tunisia. And the objective is not detaining power. The objective is what kind of power? Is it a democratic power? Is it a power giving importance to human dignity, to human rights? So I don't pretend that we have lessons or advices to give to other political parties, whether they are referring to Islam or not, but I think we want to share our experience. We want to tell them when it is possible, let's discuss why we've been successful on this or not successful on that. So we are ready to share. Yet, sometimes we are all Tunisian, we are a bit, how can you say it, afraid of being the exception. Being exception in a world where democracy seems to strive to have its place, to be sustainable, to be viable, means that we are orphan. We don't want to be orphan. We deeply believe that what can Tunisian citizen achieve, all other citizens can achieve. In Libya, in Yemen, in Syria. So if we sit with our brothers from these countries, we will tell them, try dialogue, try reconciliation, listen to each other, make room for the other. Maybe you will discover that the other you are afraid of, the other you are fighting is you. This is what I have learned from interfaith dialogue. This is what I have tried to transmit when I was in the Constituent Assembly. This is what I am doing with many other persons. And I usually give this example. I give my example, my relationship with a lady called Bushra Belhaj Hamida. Bushra Belhaj Hamida is the symbol of secularist feminism in Tunisia. When I was chairing the Constituent Assembly, media and politicians, they often oppose us. Meherzia is the opposite of Bushra, etc. But since 2014, we are working together in Women Committee in the Assembly and in Rights and Liberties Committee. And we discovered that we have many, many things to share. And we have discovered and reinforced our sisterhood. This, I think, the advice I can give to anyone, discover that Bushra, your Bushra, is closer to you than you think. And I'm sure, if Bushra was here, they will tell you, discover that Meherzia is closer to you than you believe. This is the only advice, because it starts from individuals to political parties, to civil society, and to have the spirit of dialogue in the city and in the state.
Well, thank you very much. We're out of time. I really wanted to take more questions, but she has other meetings, and I'm sure you have other meetings too. So please join me again in thanking her for an excellent presentation.